Hey guys, good evening. Welcome. It is Friday night. It is 7 p.m. And of course, that can only mean one thing: time for our weekly 1 hour live stream. I've got the kid merch here on, kids here on the shelf with us. Of course, the SS United States, that's going to be a topic. I know what you guys are wondering right out of the gate. Hey, wait a minute. You said Tim NesSmith from the Kidd Museum is going to be here, and he will be. Uh, Tim was not able to join us right here out of the gate, but I am waiting for him to let me know when he is ready. We're going to start our stream and go over the content that I was planning to share with you guys. And as soon as Tim is available, we're going to bring him on. I'm just waiting to hear from him. So rest assured, Tim will be here. If you are watching the replay of this and you were only here for the dry dock update for the kid, the stream will be broken down into chapters, so you can just go over like the timeline of the channel and check and see where it says USS Kidd, and you can watch that if that's all you're interested in. But I hope you watch the whole thing. So we've got a big group here this week. Let's see. We've got Mark, we've got Max, we've got Buddy, we've got Norbrook. Let's see. We've got an Age Forgotten. We've got Karen. Let's see. We've got Jeff. We've got Steve. Let's see. I said Age Forgotten. Russell Ball VR. New, sounds like a new one. Russell Ball and Jeff. Welcome. Welcome, guys. Welcome aboard. Let's see. I think I got, and Aaron. Almost missed you, Aaron. I'm glad you were able to make it. So, guys, we're going to start off with our news for this week. We've got a lot of news. So, Russell Ball VR. Gotcha. Okay. So, let me pull up what we have for the news this week. And that's how we're going to kick things off. Let's see. Share screen. All right, here we go. Oh, Russ Ball. Sorry, my man. Russ Ball. Gotcha. Okay. All right, here we go. So lots of museum ship news this week, guys, and this is how we're kicking things off. So our friends over at the Buffalo and Erie County Naval Park and Museum are going to be celebrating St. Patrick's Day. Of course, USS Sullivan's DD 537 is one of their museum ships, a sister ship to the Kidd, by the way. And as you can see, they say, join us on Wednesday, March 12th, for our annual St. Patrick's Day celebration honoring USS the Sullivans, a fun Irish-inspired evening with dinner, drinks, tours, raffles, and most importantly, fun. All for $45. Tickets on sale now. All proceeds will benefit the USS the Sullivans. As you guys know, Sullivan's will be going into dry dock later this year, along with USS Croker. Both vessels are there at the Buffalo Naval Park. But in the meantime, if you are in the Buffalo, New York area around this date, March 12th, go and check them out. Support the Sullivans and tell them I said hi. So, having said that, let's move on to our next museum ship topic. Here we go. So, here we go. The Galveston Naval Museum, which is home to the USS Cavallo and the USS Stewart. They are going to be having an event. Only 11 days away. Well, it's less days now. So USS Cavallo's 81st birthday celebration is happening on March 1st, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Enjoy a vendor market and 50% off admission for this special event. Don't miss out. Mark your calendars. So, USS Cavallo. What do we know about Cavallo? Cavallo is the submarine that got a nickname, the Pearl Harbor Avenger. So, December 7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor happens. One of the Japanese aircraft carriers, known as the Shikaku, participated in the attack on Pearl Harbor. Later on in the war, Kavala here torped the Shikaku and sunk her, hence the nickname, the Pearl Harbor Avenger. Aaron says, never been, but on my bucket list. I'm a sub guy. Yeah, I know you are a big fan of the subs, Aaron. So if you ever make your way down to Galveston, you're going to eventually be able to see 3 ships in Galveston, which is going to be our next topic. So let's move on. And let's see. Here we go. This is from the Battleship Texas's Facebook page. And they say, we are one step closer to securing Battleship Texas's new home in Galveston. Yesterday, the Galveston Wharves Board Battleship Ad Hoc Committee voted unanimously to recommend Pier 15 as the new home for Battleship Texas. The full Wharves Board will vote on March 4th on whether to approve this location. Once approved, there's still a lot of work to be done before the battleship can be moved to her new home. But we will be doing all we can to get the battleship home as expeditiously as possible. Pier 15 is a very good location, situated at the east end of the Strand and situated between a new MSC cruise terminal that is being built at Pier 16 and the existing Royal Caribbean terminal at Pier 10. We want to thank the members of the ad hoc committee who have moved efficiently to gather facts and community input to make their informed decision. We also want to thank the Galveston community for their input in these public meetings, as well as the United States Coast Guard, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and the Galveston, Texas City Pilots. So, Pier 15, if you're not familiar with the area, we are going to do some Google Maps here. And I'm going to pull up Google Maps and we're going to take a look at Galveston. Just bear with me a sec while I bring this up. Let's see. Let's do the satellite view. Okay, so let's see. Let's turn this off for a second. And we're going to pull up Google Maps. Okay, so here we are. We've got Galveston right here. And we're going to zoom in over here in this sector. So Pelican Island is where Gulf Copper is. That's the dry dock that she has been in. And if you zoom in, you can see Google Maps hasn't, even though it says copyright 2025, they have not updated their satellite views, because you can see right here, it shows Texas still being in dry dock, which she's not in dry dock. Actually, she is right here at this pier. And that's where they are doing the restoration tours for the Texas. And you look across the channel here, this is the Galveston Channel. You can see these are where all the cruise terminals are. There's a Carnival ship right here. But where is Pier 15? So if we move over here a little bit, Pier 15 is going to be right here. This is Pier 15. So let's zoom out a bit more. So again, she was in dry dock here. She is here currently. And this is where they're going to move her. This is Pier 15. Now, if we zoom out even more, we go all the way to the tip of Pelican Island, and you can see Seawolf Park right here. And you zoom in, and you can see this is the Galveston Naval Museum. And zoom in really good. There's the Cavallo right there, and there's the Stewart right there. So you can do all of these in one day if you're in the Galveston area. Once the Texas is back open, it's a little kind of annoying drive, though. The Texas will be right here, and then you've got to come down here, take the Pelican Island Causeway, then go all the way down to the end. There's no bridge or anything right here because the ferry leaves somewhere in this area. I think it's right here. But yeah, Seawolf Park right there. So you'll have three ships in close proximity, and depending on if they're going to develop this or not, let's go back into Pier 15 right here. If they decide to develop this, make a museum building right here, sort of like what Kidd and Alabama have, you can basically spend a whole day just looking at museum ships. So where's Wolf? He would love to hear this. I told him I had some Texas news tonight, Wolf, but I have not seen him as of yet. So it is what it is. Maybe he'll catch it on the replay. Steve. There's a certain restaurant that we will not name is further down the Galveston Channel, or around this area somewhere, and that's the furthest I'm going to dive into that. Let's see. So that is all the Texas news, but we're not quite done with news yet. We've got some current news as well. I'm sure you guys have heard. Let's see. Let's go back to the photos here. All right, so let's see. Stop that screen. Let me go back to the photos. And let's see. Okay, so back to this, but we're done with the Texas, and we're moving on to this. You guys will remember last week, the USS Harry S. Truman got into a little fender bender. Mark, SSU, yes. No, we're not on to the big U yet, Mark. Rest assured, we will, of course, be talking about the big U later. But we've got some news involving the collision that the USS Harry S. Truman was involved in. Let me pull that up for you guys. So here we go. The Navy fired the captain of a U.S. aircraft carrier that struck a cargo ship in the Mediterranean Sea on February 12th. Captain Dave Snowden, who took command of the nuclear-powered USS Harry S. Truman in December 2023, was relieved of command Thursday, according to a Navy release. Rear Admiral Sean Bailey, Snowden's commander, removed him due to a loss of confidence in Snowden's ability to command after the Truman was involved in a collision. The Truman collided with the Besiktas M, a Panama-flagged bulk cargo carrier ship, on the evening of February 12th near Port Said, Egypt. There were no injuries. The merchant vessel sustained minor damage. However, the carrier, which cost $4.5 billion with a B, to build, suffered enough damage to its hull and external structures to require a stop at a Navy facility in Greece for emergency damage assessment and repairs, according to the Navy. Before his removal, Snowden said the ship is fully mission capable, pulling into port for emergency repairs will enable the ship to continue deployment as scheduled. Snowden's swift and public relief contrasts with the Navy's typical treatment of discipline for senior commanders. The service rarely elaborates on its rationale for firings beyond a statement about loss of confidence leading to critiques from military-focused news outlets and former officers frustrated by the lack of transparency. The commander of USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, Captain Christopher Hill, is now the Truman's interim commander, according to the release. Hill and the Eisenhower recently completed a deployment to the Middle East, spent in regular combat against drones and missiles launched by the Iran-backed Houthi militias in Yemen. The Navy says Snowden's firing will not impact the Truman's mission or schedule. So that article was from USA Today, and yeah, we've got a better line of sight on the damage here from that collision. Right here, and that's essentially this picture right here. And you can see over here that you look at a giant gaping hole in the hull right there. Let's see. Then we've got another photo here. Norbrook Field, bad for the interim captain, just got back from a deployment, and hey, pack your bags, right? I thought the same thing when I read that article earlier today. So here we are. We can zoom in and we can see this is a side view of that damage that we saw. I don't know what this big pipe is on side of the ship, but you can see there's damage right there. And right up here in this section, there's more damage right there. Okay, moving on to our next photo, which this one's nothing new. Okay, let's go back to that photo. Norbrook has it is a incinerator exhaust. Let's go back to the first image. So I think the first image is the best one we can see. Yeah, and you see there the damage is there right here. So it's an incinerator exhaust. Mark says, I'm surprised they got that close to each other. I think a lot of people were surprised by that. It's not often, it's not every day you hear of an aircraft carrier being in a collision, essentially. So yeah, those were the only 3 photos I got about that, but I figured you guys would be interested in hearing the latest article on that because we talked about it last week, and there it is. So that is all the news that I've got for this week, guys. I guess we'll go ahead and move into, wait, that's like the Titanic colliding with the iceberg head on. Well, I don't think these 2 ships collided head on, buddy. It looks, I don't know. I really can't figure out how these 2 ships collided. I mean, this one has damage on the side. Norbrook's got another comment for this. Let's see. According to Sal over at What's Happening with Shipping, Truman wasn't using its locator beacon. Is that a website, Norbrook, or is that that's like a Facebook page or something? Buddy says a mystery we will never know. I think we're going to find out. This is going to be a multinational investigation into that collision. It's not something just the United States is conducting. YouTube channel. Okay, thank you. I may take a look into that. But yeah, no, we're gonna find out. I'm fairly certain of that. So, guys, I think what we're gonna do for now, while we wait for Tim to join us, let's see. Yeah. Do I even need to say anything? I mean, there it is. Where do I begin with this? Let's see. I'm trying to think, how do I even start this conversation? Um, the voyage that the imminent voyage we were dreading would be the best way I can open this up. Um, Aaron, hang on, let me grab my tissues. Yeah, I think that's the sentiment amongst most people, guys. As amazing as it is to see her, making a voyage again. The reason why is just Karen, I watched it leaving the dock. It is so sad. Yeah, actually, guys, we are going to put this on hold. I hate to kind of do like a bait and switch essentially, but I see Tim has just logged into the studio. So let's get out of this. And let's see. Let's bring Tim in here. And let me put my headphones on so I can hear Tim. Hey, Tim.
Good evening.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Oh, yeah, perfect timing, my friend. Perfect timing. We just finished up the news. I had a lot of news to cover, mostly about other museum ships, by the way.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Recap real quick. Our friend Shane and our friends at the Buffalo Museum are doing a St. Patty's Day celebration with proceeds going to DD 537.
Okay.
And Cavalla is the Galveston Naval Museum is going to be celebrating Cavalla's 81st birthday on March 1st.
Ah, happy birthday, Fishy.
Indeed. Indeed. And they may have found a home for BB 35.
Excellent.
Pier,
Excellent.
Pier 15 in Galveston.
Lots of people saying hello. Hi, guys. I logged on so fast I didn't get hooked up into chat. So I'm just going to say a blanket hello to everybody.
There you go. So let me pull up our pictures of Kidd, because Tim, you guys were just at the museum. The museum. You're at the museum every day. You were just at the shipyard yesterday. I know you put some photos on Facebook. I got those ready for us here. Just
Actually, I was back down there today too. So.
Oh, were you? Okay. Yeah. So what brought you guys there today?
Parks had to do some follow-up work with the shipyard for the masking for the new camouflage, and I didn't have to be there for that, but since he was going, we consolidated this trip to. I've been trying to get a few VIPs, very important people for the museum who have helped us over the years there to be able to see what's going on. And one of these folks was one of our founding fathers. And it was a situation where if I'm going to work, I couldn't necessarily do that because I needed to, be with him and make sure he was safe in the environment. He is older than me, so that's all I'm going to say. Sure. Just make sure he's safe and explain what he's seeing and everything, and then get him home again. So this was a nice opportunity. We all three of us got together, rode down, and while Parks was working with the painters, I was walking Mr. David around and just showing him around, showing him what we're doing. Like I said, he's one of the founding fathers. He's actually the person who the brain was the cradle system, the mooring system was his brainchild, and he was an artist for an editorial artist for the Advocate for years and years and years, and an artist came up with that design and presented it to the engineers who were trying to figure out how are we going to moor a museum ship in the Mississippi River when it's a difference of 40 feet each year. And he brought this design to them, and half of them went, "You're insane." And the other half went, "Wait a minute, this might work." And then they crunched the numbers and it worked. So it was nice to be able to get Mr. David down there and let him see what's happening to his ship.
I don't think you've ever told me that story before.
Yeah. There was one engineer that stuck around as long as he did on the board, and on their last day, their last meeting, he walked up to him and said, "That idea of yours wasn't bad." And then he turned around and left, and Mr. David turned to me. He said, "He's never going to tell me I was right."
Steve says, "Hello, Tim. He got back from dinner just in time."
Hey, Steve, right?
Yes,
That's
Steve.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hi, Steve.
Yep. Good friend of mine. Steve was on with us last week. Steve got a pretty nice accolade to his name. He is now a member of the Queen Mary Heritage Foundation, which is the official nonprofit for the Queen Mary.
Oh, congrats. And
Yeah.
thanks for supporting a museumship.
Absolutely. So, Tim, we got some photos. I'm going to pull them up here so you can kind of walk us through what we're going to be looking at, because I hear Kidd is planning to dazzle us all. I know. Cheesy joke, I know. That sigh. Okay.
Twist that knife just a little more. Right to my soul.
So here we are, and it looks like the her dazzle paint scheme is underway.
Yeah, so the pictures that went up earlier this week, they primed all of the superstructure, and now they're beginning to apply some of that black from measure 32D. They'll coat the black. From what I understand, they'll coat everything in black on the superstructure, and then they'll come back, and you see where the tape is. They'll come back and they'll take and put in the light gray to make the zigs and the zags and the whatever else you want to call it, the angles that make up that dazzle camouflage.
Now,
so they're beginning to do it here. They haven't got all the black all the way around. This was taken yesterday after we left you, and yeah, they're beginning to make progress. They don't dilly dally around. They move fast.
Now, how many different colors are actually going to be in this scheme?
So for the hull and the superstructure, there is black, flat black. There is, I think it's flat black. If not, there might be a little semi-gloss to it, but I don't think it is. I think it's just flat black. And then, actually, no, looking at it, it's got a little bit of a gloss to it. So slight gloss to it. So black, light gray. And then on the decks, you're going to have ocean blue and no, I'm sorry, deck blue and ocean gray. So 4 colors total.
On the deck itself?
The deck itself, 2 colors. Then the superstructure and the hull, 1 color.
Is the ocean blue what she's had on the deck previously all these years?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Because I remember you guys
charts.
You guys
our guys, for some reason, when I got there, you go and order the paint at the store, and you had haze gray, and then you had silhouette, and I'm like, what the devil is silhouette? Oh, that's what we call, and they threw out the number, and I'm like, why don't you just call it what it's supposed to be? So I'm used to hearing silhouette, but yeah, I believe it's ocean blue.
Okay. I remember a few years, maybe it was a few years ago, or maybe I could be off, but you guys did a really great video on your channel. And it was essentially, you had some people dress up in camo, and you have like this shot above the ship, and you're looking down at the decks, and you're like, try to find the people.
Yeah, that was one of our educational videos in our Kid Bits playlist, which, guys, if you haven't gone to the Kid Bits playlist, I really encourage you to do it. It's fun for kids and adults. But yeah, we were talking about how art can be used. In fact, I think the title of it was Tactical Artwork Camouflage. And so we taught the kids a little bit how camouflage works. We teased at the beginning, there are 4 people hiding on and around the ship. Can you see them? And then we went ahead with the video talking to them about camouflage. And at the end, we gave you a nice long pan from just port of centerline all the way across, and all the way over to starboard while the river was down. So you had people on the riverbed, and you had one guy up on the ship. And I'll look at it today, and I still can't find the Colonel. I know where she's at, but I can't see her. Her camouflage worked really well in that rocky environment.
Right. And I'm not going to reveal. I'm picturing it in my head, but I'm not going to reveal where they can find people. Go watch the video for yourselves and see if you can find where they're at before the big reveal at the end.
That was a fun video. I really enjoyed making that, and the National Guard, Louisiana National Guard, aided us with that. They brought out some historical uniforms for them to wear. So there's one of our crew members, and then 3 of their team, and each of them had on a different camouflage that's no longer in use, and very effective.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. Was all the camouflage in the video still used by the Navy today?
There's 1 Navy, and then there's 3 Army, and I think, well, not Marine Corps, but Army uses. But the Army and the Marine Corps use very similar camouflage schemes. But yeah, none of them were current.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not surprised there's no Marine there, because I know Marines are not allowed to wear their camo in public.
Yeah. We had to go through all sorts of requests and everything to let them participate with us. So really? that was a lot of fun.
So looks like we got I don't know, bags is obviously not the right word, but they've got this area covered up. What are we seeing in this photo? What's going on?
They're spray painting the black onto the superstructure behind it. They're just putting that on the cables, so the cables aren't painted, and the snaking, the rope work that's on there. They're being nice and trying to protect as much of rope work, so when she comes out of the yard, I don't have to be working like a madman to fabricate new snaking. So I greatly appreciate that. So
gotcha.
But yeah, you can see the masking tape again, like on the gun tubs for the 40 millimeter, right on the backside of Mount 52, and that's actually one of the spots. One of the difficulties with this project, with this experiment, is measure 32D was put on her in 44, and Kidd is in her 45 configuration now. So there's stuff that's on her now that wasn't on her back then, and there's stuff that was on her back then that's not on her now. So Parks has had to really spend a lot of time on the computer with, I don't know what program he's using. I'm just going to use the generic term, Photoshop, and adapting the camouflage to fit the 1945 configuration. So and what was interesting, there's only 4 photographs of Kidd in this camouflage in 44, and that we know of, at least. And you can tell, looking at the chart that the Navy put out, of this is how you paint this camouflage scheme, these are the colors, and this is the angles, all that. And you look at that, and you look at the photographs of Kidd, and like a true pirate, Kidd did her thing. So the tops of the gun mounts are not the color that the Navy said they should, and understandably so, because they were a very, very dark color, and you're in the South Pacific near the equator, and you're going to have a dark color on top of your gun. That would make it miserable inside that gun mount during combat. So yeah, they adapted. So what we're going with, if folks out there have the access to those charts, they're on the internet, and they look at the finished product, and they look at the official chart, you're going to see differences, because one, Kidd herself in 44, the crew adapted at that point in time for their convenience, and 2, we're having to adapt because the ship doesn't look like she did at that point in time. So and that brings up the point, why are we doing this? This is an educational an educational endeavor. We'll have it for about 5 years, and then we'll change it back to Measure 22, or depending on the reaction to this, we'll move on to Measure 21, which she had in 1943. But there's a lot of people that's wanted to see this for years, pushed for it for years, and I finally caved. I chose to fight my battles that I could win, and we're going to do this, and we'll see if we get millions upon millions upon millions of people coming to Baton Rouge just for this paint job, and then go from there. But we'll be able to talk.
Yeah.
We've talked about Measure 22 and its benefits and the pros and cons and what it's trying to do for 42 years. We're going to talk about Measure 3210D for 5 years, about its pros and cons, and then if people like it, we'll move on back to Measure 21 and talk about its pros and cons, and then at the end of the 10 years, we'll go back to Measure 22, which is what would be historically correct for her physical configuration.
Right. Now, the one time I met Parks in person, we had that conversation about the Dazzle, and he mentioned, he knows that you're going to have those people who are going to nitpick and that's not the right paint scheme and blah blah. It's like, so I'm glad you guys are. I'm glad you guys are already prepared for that.
Oh yeah, it's already happening.
For real.
And I warned him ahead of time, and he knows that I don't like it, but I'm holding my gag reflex in and then just gritting my teeth and bearing it.
Right.
It's for education.
No, it is. But and that brings up another question. How and without, you don't have to go through a big detailed list, but what would be some of the physical differences from 44 to 45? The only one I could maybe think of, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, is wouldn't she have still had the forward torpedo tubes in 44, and those were changed between?
She had the forward torpedo tubes in 44, which means that and I think if you scroll, you might be able to get to that section. So right at the end of this picture, you see that little small deck house behind the stack. That's an ammo magazine for the quad 40s. That would not have been there because the tubes would have been there.
Okay.
And if you go a little bit more,
let's see.
Yeah, there you go. You see the black section at the left of the photograph. That's the gun tubs. Those gun tubs wouldn't have been there because there were no quads. There were twins. The gun tub would have been smaller, and it would have been even with the aft smokestack. So that's out of alignment from where it would have been. No ECM mast back then. And let's see.
Educate me. Where's the ECM mast on the show?
ECM mast is that little small mast that sticks up with the mushroom tops between Mount 53 and Mount 54.
Do I have it in camera here?
In your eyeball now.
So this guy right here.
Correct. They didn't even have that back then.
Okay. Let's see.
And in this picture right here, if you go down on the main deck, you see where the bulwark is coming along, and it's there. And then right where you've got your cursor, where the black is, it will, in 44, disappear and go to snaking and cables and stanchions. It just curves down into nothing, and then you have the cables and stanchions. So little differences like that.
Right. But the big difference from listening to you, it seems to be the removal of the forward torpedo tubes.
Yeah, that started everything else. That resulted in the magazine. It moved the 40 millimeters. It took, and that's something you can't see in this photo, but it took a platform like the Searchlight platform on the forward stack. It took a platform off the aft stack because they needed new directors, and they moved the directors off the stack and put them on top of that magazine there.
Okay. So, let's see.
Is that she looks a little different.
Oh, we got this one more photo right here. And that's the aft funnel right here.
Correct. And that's what I was talking about with the platform. I'm reaching, like you can see me pointing at the thing again. Bad habit. But yeah, the platform that's black there that the guns would sit on would actually be smaller and be directly in line vertically with the aft stack.
Okay. Now I saw you make this you or make a comment about the pirate art on the forward funnel.
Yeah, that's
Um,
going to be a difference too. The pirate will have the pirate up there, but that will not be historically accurate because the pirate was gone while she had the dazzle.
she had the pirate before and after the dazzle.
She had the pirate before the dazzle, and then orders came down that you need to get rid of it, and they hedged and played around with it and hit it with canvas and hit it with grease and painted the grease and all that. And finally, supposedly, according to the crew, they got a new captain, and he finally just had enough with it and said, "Okay, guys, get rid of it." I'm curious about that because looking at the photos for this project and digging around to see when they actually started the camo got put on in December of 43. They didn't get a new commander until August of 44. But when you look at the photos from June and July of 44, she's in the dazzle, but she does not have the pirate. So I'm wondering if their memories, you 50 years go by, 60 years go by, the order of things sometimes chronologically in your memory gets messed up. I'm wondering if the crew, they already didn't like the second captain, and I'm wondering if they just attributed the removal of the pirate because of the new camouflage to, well, that guy made them get rid of it. I'm wondering if that got juxtaposed somehow. But very clearly in the photographs in June and July, before he ever came on board, there's no pirate on the stack. So interesting how little projects like this will reveal something that was never there before,
Right.
in in your knowledge of it.
The only captain name I can remember you mentioning was Commander Roby.
He was our first CO,
He was
Alan
the
B.
first
Brody.
one.
Hmm.
Okay, so he was off of the ship by this point.
Well, if this stuff came on in December of 43, then he was captain while they had the dazzle, and then he left midway through, and
Gotcha.
then they moved over to Measure 22 in December or January of 44, 45.
Oh, Eric's here. Hey, Eric. Um, with the did she have the same captain in August of 45 as the ship is now configured, and in April 45 at the time of the attack?
No, Captain Moore was her second commander. He was wounded pretty severely in the attack, and he was sent ashore to a hospital for recuperation, which was months before he was up on his feet and moving around again. The commander that took over was Fred Bush from Tupelo, Mississippi, and he was on board in August of 45. And put the ship out of service in the reserve fleet, decommissioned her.
Okay.
So three assigned wartime commanders. The XO took over after the kamikaze attack, and after Moore was down from his wounds, and then he himself had to be relieved because of his wounds, and the junior officer Dick Kinney stepped up and took over and got her the rest of the way to Ulithi, and then handed her over to Bush when Bush finally arrived.
Gotcha.
So two acting captains and then three assigned captains.
So this is the question that I know you probably get the most, or one of them. Karen asks, how much longer before she is finished?
Is any relation there?
No.
No. Okay. All right. See, I have questions too.
That's fine. Ask away.
So when will she be finished? The projections right now is that the earliest she will leave the shipyard is July of this year. And if our fundraising is successful, there's some projects that we took off of the contract so that we could take care of the additional hull work that was not expected. And if we get our fundraising like we want, then we will extend from July to November, and she will be spick and span. We won't have kicked any cans down the road for our successors. And she'll come out in November. Now, does that mean she's back in Baton Rouge in November? Or if we leave in July, will she be back in Baton Rouge? Traditionally, the river is not high enough at that point to get her back into the cradle. Traditionally.
Right.
There's been a few years here and there to where the water has stayed really high until like August or so. But by November, it's very rare that she's afloat in November. So where we'll be when we come out of the yard, I don't know yet. There's several different contingency plans all being explored, but nothing definitive yet.
So, and we've covered that a good bit, off camera and on camera, about where she may end up. She may end up somewhere in New Orleans. She may end up somewhere in Baton Rouge. You guys just won't know for sure until you cross that bridge when it gets here.
We as we go along, things drop off. Well, that won't work. Well, hey, what about this? New things crop up. So it's a work in progress. Nobody has ever done this before with this ship in this environment and this organization. So we're kind of like the guys that first started the museum. We're working without a net. We're figuring it out as we go along.
Doing a great job at it too, from what I can see.
We're trying.
You guys are doing great. She's in the best hands she can be in.
Well, Thomas E. deserves a lot of credit. They've been doing a fantastic job.
For sure.
They are as concerned about doing it right and doing it historically accurate, and making sure she's around for another 40, 50, 60 years as we are. And their passion really shines through. And I gotta give a shout out to the crew in the dry dock. I've been passing it up the pipeline every time I go through the office over there, or down there rather. And their crew is just the happiest crew.
That's great.
Yeah, they're just so happy. They go to break together. They're laughing and joking. They come back from break. They're laughing and joking. Yesterday I was, and this will answer a question that'll probably pop up because it usually does. I was down there yesterday, and I had a bring a bucket with me so I can pick up rivets. And I had left it somewhere on the ship while Molly and I were filming on deck. And I was like, okay, Molly, I'll meet you down below on the dock. I'm going to go get my bucket. Well, my bucket wasn't where I thought it was. So I went further back. I found it. I'm walking back, and one of the yard workers grabs me and she says, come with me. And I follow her, and she goes down into the aft berthing and then up into the machine shop, and then tells me, turn on your light. And down we go into Shaft Alley, and there's a little storage area there for spare parts and everything. And they had been working on, that's right at the water line, they had been working on the plate behind there. And she shone her light on one of the shelves, and she said, I see you picking these up. I saved them for you. And there's like 81 rivets just sitting right there. She didn't have to do that. She wasn't paid to do that. She did it just out of the kindness of her heart. God bless her. And
that's amazing.
I was like, thank you so much. And they'll be on break just sitting around. They won't leave the dock. They'll be on deck on the dock floor, sitting around during their break, watching something on their phone, or just, kind of relaxing for a moment, drinking, hydrating. And they'll see me wandering around picking up rivets, while everybody's on break, and when it's kind of safe to be around some of those areas. And they'll get up on their break and they'll start picking up rivets and bringing it over and dropping in my bucket. It's just, they're a fantastic crew. I really enjoy working with them.
If you ever need a volunteer to help pick up rivets, I know a guy.
Then I'll be out of the job.
Right? We don't want that. But since you mentioned that though, I mean, you guys of course are planning to sell the rivets and I think some of the sheet metal from the ship. You guys are like planning to make objects out of that stuff, or you're just going to sell the stuff as is, or do you have plans for that stuff yet?
Um, I don't know that will be as elaborate as Battleship Texas. Battleship Texas had a lot of steel from those
Yeah.
torpedo blisters. Um, what we'll do with the steel, I'm not sure, but the rivets, I'm thinking we're pretty much just going to sell them as is. There's some different size rivets, I don't know, some really massive rivets, and then some smaller rivets. But
Mhm.
so there'll probably be some different prices for the different types of rivets. But
God
yeah,
help my
what's
wallet.
going to happen with the big pieces of steel? I'm not sure yet. I don't think we'll be making any guitars out of them like Texas did.
Right.
So, or any swords, but who knows? Maybe we will.
That would be cool.
Yeah, they're still collecting all that stuff for us and setting it aside, and so um, we will see what we can do with
My wallet's going to hate you guys when you start selling that. I just want you to know.
it.
'Cause it's so I always keep this on my little shelf. Real teak deck from the Alabama.
That's neat.
And it's just not right if I don't have something from the kid. I don't care if it's an original piece of the ship or not. It was on the ship, it was part of the ship. I gotta have it.
Surprised you don't have something from Texas.
Uh Maybe in a few weeks. I am
Okay.
planning to go back to Galveston and do their restoration tour before the summertime. And
Okay.
maybe then something will happen. But I've got one last photo here, and this is of course is the one you guys have on your YouTube channel. There she
Yep.
is in her dazzle. So for the
That was
most
not a
part,
precursor, by the way. That was the only photo that I could find that would fit YouTube's banner size that you could see all of the ship without cropping stuff off. So it's coincidence that we're going to dazzle camouflage, and that's our header.
right?
So
It was not a coincidence. I selected that photo for the thumbnail because I knew
uh
we were going to be talking about the dazzle stuff. So Tim, before you go, is there anything else happening besides the paint in dry dock?
yeah, yeah. Yesterday we got to look at the aft deck, and they are finishing up all the metal replacement on the aft deck. There's still some metal left, and still some labor hours, still paid for that they can expend. So they are working on replacing thin deck up on the O1 level between the stacks where the quad 40s are. And they'll be replacing some thin metal on the bow, which, if my memory is correct, the spot that the plating that they're going to replace on the bow on the main deck is literally the thinnest hull metal that you will find, not superstructure, but hull metal that you'll find anywhere on the ship. And why they made that section so thin, I don't know, but it does speak to why you see so many Fletchers damaged during the war, where they lost their bow or they lost their stern, because maybe it was designed to break away on purpose if they took a hit.
Mhm.
But all the decking, main decking above the engineering spaces was much thicker than the either end. So that's another great thing about Thomasy is, they potentially wouldn't have to say anything. Hey, we got some leftover steel, and hey, we got some leftover labor hours, but this wasn't in the contract. They actually want to help make the ship better, and make
Mhm.
her kind of a testament to their workers' skill for their
Mhm.
company. So uh, I can't say enough good things about Thomasy.
Good. That's amazing. Now, one last question here
Yeah.
before we let you go. With the rivets, where she's riveted at, and these rivets are coming off, is that going to be welded so she won't have rivets at all anymore? Is that correct?
Yeah, that's rivet, not rivet. That's welded now, where they replaced the plates. They might, I'd have to go back and look at the finer details of the contract, but they might be putting back like false rivet heads to give her the appearance still,
The authentic look.
the authentic look. But I'd have to go back and look at the contract for the fine details on that.
Okay.
I was not in the negotiation of the contract. That was all lawyers and shipyard people. So
Of course.
yeah.
It reminds me kind of how Shane described their situation with their ships is they not so much that they are in charge and they say what goes, or so to speak, and I'm kind of
Mhm.
paraphrasing here, but he said they are essentially serving as the advisors. This is what we recommend you do, for example,
Right. And that's pretty much the way ours is set up. They basically came to us and said, Tim, Nathan, we want you to put together a list of everything you would like to do. And, sky's the limit, go for it. And, then we whittle down what is absolutely necessary, categorize it, what would be preferable, and then on down into priority, different levels of priorities. The hull, anything with the hull was number one priority. And then how to go about doing it, that got tossed around. And yeah, it's like, making a dinner. You do this and that leads to this and that leads to this. And then you have a meal. So, but yeah, there's a naval architect, there's a naval engineer involved, and they're checking on the ship and making sure everything is good. And then they talk to me, and they talk to the shipyard, and then from there, then whatever recommendations come from them gets up on the higher level where I don't have access, and then bigger wigs take over and make the decisions from there. But yeah, they consult with, I guess you would call us the content experts. So
right. Speaking of content, any new content coming down the pipes on the channel?
Miss Molly is looking to have a video up tomorrow night. If I remember correctly, she said it's going to deal with the paint scheme. So you guys are kind of getting a little sneak peek there. I may have given you spoilers.
We're going to watch anyway.
If you just want to see me standing on the dry dock wall being cold and shivering, because I filmed it while it was something like 26 degrees, 32 degrees, something like that, in a 15 mile per hour wind. Yeah, you'll enjoy it. I don't know if you can tell it. I'm very congested. I'm on cold medicine. If I'm sounding loopy, that's why.
Sound fine to me. But tell me anything else you want to let us know about before you go? I know you're kind of pressed for time this evening.
One of the other videos that's going to be coming down the pike yesterday, after we left you, we went to Duloc Shipyard, which is probably a mile or two away from Thomasee, and that's where our whale boats are. And Mr. Steffenberg walked us around what's going on with the boats and how what they've found as they've started work on them, and what the processes are that they're going to use to get those back in shape. So that should be an interesting video. He is somebody I stumbled across while doing a video on Homa's Regional Military Museum for their LCVP. And I haven't finished that video yet. Molly edits much faster than I do. And so that one, I filmed that, I think, in July or August, and I'm still working on it. But I met Mr. Steffen because he's tackling their LCVP at the same time he's doing our boats. And he's worked on fiberglass boats since he was 11 years old. It's a family shipyard. He's been involved with it. Child labor, right?
Different times, folks, different times.
Yeah. And the thing that caught my attention about him that made me say, I need this guy on my side working on my boats. He's showing me a piece from the LCVP, it's metal and it's kind of rotted out in the center, but everything else around it, a lot of still good metal. And he's like, I could fabricate this whole piece and it would be brand new, 100% brand new. No one would ever know the difference. He said, but this is the history. This piece has history to it. It's original to the boat. And if I crop this out to good metal and I weld in a new piece of metal and smooth it down, nobody will ever know that only part of it is original. He said, but you can only be original once, and I would rather repair it than replace it. And he kept saying, you can only be original once. And I'm like, I love this guy and I want to work with him. And thankfully, he wanted to work with us too. So our whaleboats are in good hands, and we should have that video coming down the pike pretty soon.
That's a great saying, by the way. I dig that.
Yeah, I love that.
Okay. Well, Tim, before we wrap it up, if you would remind everybody that the USS Kidd Veterans Museum is a nonprofit museum.
It's a nonprofit museum. It's a non-funded state agency that receives no state or federal funding on a regular basis. In fact, Monday and Tuesday, we'll have a video dropping about Museum Advocacy Day. And I'll be talking endlessly about how our funding has come over the years, specifically three times that we've got three or four times that we've got state funding, and in 42 years, and the one time we've gotten federal funding, and then everything else has been self-generated. So tune into that if you want to hear how museums get their funding, and how you can help us on Museum Advocacy Day. But yeah, we're a non-funded state agency. You can support us by buying stuff off of our museum store. You can support us by writing a check and mailing it in. You can go to YouTube and watch our videos. You can, in fact, watch our videos on Facebook because we're monetized on Facebook now. Miss Molly's been working on that. And you can go to usskid.com and you can press that donate button. And we appreciate every penny that you send us.
And you can also, if you watch the YouTube channel, when you are premiering a video, there's always a chat. You can always do super chats.
Super chats. Yep.
Yeah. So multiple ways you can donate, guys. Support the ship, and hopefully we can extend that stay to November. That way, as you say, don't kick the can down the road for the people that follow you. Let's have her done now, so it's another 60 years before she needs this again.
There you go. And I see, before you kick me out, or before I run away, whichever one you want to run with. Yes, Dan, donations to museums like us, 501c3s, are tax deductible to the extent allowed by law. Now, how much depends on, I guess, where you're located, what state you're in, where you're filing taxes. Whole bunch of different variables, but yes, 501c3 nonprofit organizations like Kidd, your donations are tax deductible.
Excellent. So guys, if you haven't donated yet, stop by their website, stop by the YouTube channel, and Facebook. You just said you guys are monetized on Facebook now.
Yeah. We appreciate everybody.
Well, Tim, I guess I'll let you run here.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming on and talking with me. I know this was kind of a spur of the moment thing, we talked about yesterday.
Yeah.
It's so much better for you to come on and get the updates because you obviously know what's going on a whole lot better than I do. So
yeah, sometimes I don't know what's going on, but I appreciate all the support that you and others out there in the community, just broadcasting about the ship and letting people know about her and what's going on. And so, if you guys support us so much, I'm happy to come on and support your channel and
thank you.
And History X and all the others out there. So appreciate the opportunity.
Cool. Thanks a lot, Tim.
Thank you. Have a great weekend and stay warm.
You too, my friend. Take care, and I'm sure we'll see you again in the future.
All right, my friend. Have a good night. Thanks, everybody.
Cool deal. All right, guys. That was pretty awesome, right? We got Tim to come back on and tell us a little bit about what's going on with the ship. And again, go to their YouTube channel at USS Kidd DD661. And Having said all that, we are going to go ahead and transition into our final topic of the evening here. Let me get reset up. Just bear with me a second. And let's see. Here we go. And there we are. Okay, guys. So not gonna lie, when I pulled it up right before Tim joined us, I'm looking at this picture. I kind of got a little speechless there for a second. I think I was also able to gather my thoughts a little bit. So here we go. The move that we were all kind of regretting. We know where she's going. We know why she's going. So essentially, I'm gonna finish this off by scrolling through some of the photos, and I'm gonna interact with you guys a whole lot more. Open this up, share your thoughts about the big U. You know, making her trip down to Mobile. The floor is open. You know, of course, keep it civil. So. I said it was so cool to actually see her in motion again, and even seeing her back out of the port. As you know, just going to try and focus on that part of it, and not the parts that bum us out and make us sad. So here she is. Think this. Okay, these pictures might be out of order. She's already passed. Looks like the bridge right here. What is it? The Walt Whitman Bridge. So let's see, what else do we have? I'm on the wrong side of the screen here. The picture of Kidd, is that the color scheme she will look like? The black and white picture that you saw at the end, yes, she's going to be in that Dazzle paint scheme. Steve's asking, do I have today's photos at sea? I only have one of them, Steve. I actually did not see those photos until a few minutes before we came on the live stream. Yeah, so here she is. She's passing she's already passed the Walt Whitman Bridge here. This is the tug that's towing her, guys, the Vivek #6. And there are multiple places you can go to online if you want to track her journey. In fact, before I leave you guys tonight, we're going to find out real quick where she is. And we're going to look at Mobile as well. I'm going to show you guys some cool stuff about Mobile. Okay, so now I'm kind of getting back in order. This is before she's approaching the bridge here. Let's see. Huge fuel tanks in that tug. Yeah, gotta be. If that's the one thing I've not been sure about, and I've mentioned this in my the little updates I've been doing on the shorts, is I don't know if that tug is going to be the one that takes her for the entire journey. Aaron's saying this tug has 170,000 gallons of fuel, so maybe that tug is the one that's going to take her all the way. And there she is. She's getting close to the bridge right here. Did anyone see the video where she somebody there's a catwalk under this bridge, and somebody was right above her as she was going under the bridge, and you could see how close the funnels were to that catwalk. It looked like it was just feet as to how close the funnels were. There she is, getting about to go under. Okay, Dan says, Ryan said a seagoing tug would take over when she reaches the open ocean. By the way, Dan, welcome to the channel. I saw earlier when we were talking with Tim that this is your first one of these you participate in. I do this every Friday evening at 7 o'clock U.S. Central Time. We come on, we talk about maritime history and various ships. I occasionally have guests, as you saw. So welcome aboard. I hope you hang out with us every week. You know, we've got a good little community here. It's there's no drama here. We just get on and we have fun. Aaron says at $7 a gallon, that is over $1 million in fuel. Ozzy's pointing out that she had a list on starboard. From what I remember, and I think Ryan Zemansky from New Jersey's YouTube channel was saying that, and it may not have been him, but I thought it was him. Essentially, they had her at a starboard list when she was moored at 82 because of the snow and stuff over there in Philly. They had her at a list that way. When it melt, it could roll off the ship. Yes, Steve says currently the same tug that led her downriver, which again is it's Vinnick or Nivik. I keep forgetting how to say it. Let me see if I can. Steve, can you type it in the chat? Is it like Nivik number 6 or Vinnick? I keep forgetting. Age forgotten. All I could think of was unseen passengers enjoying the cruise they love, and the unseen commodores and crew replaying their duties. I love it. Aaron at USS Kidd 661 Enoch number 6. That's it. That's Vinnick number 6 is the name of the tug. And there's a nice, good shot of her right there coming out from underneath the bridge. That might be one of my favorite shots. Dan asks, has she left the river and is now in the ocean? Yes, Dan, she is in the North Atlantic right now. She's hugging the eastern seaboard as she makes her way down. I did an update this morning where she was off the North Carolina coast. I'm assuming that's where she still is, just further south, of course. We're gonna track her again before we wrap up for tonight. There's a nice big shot of her, the whole ship. Guys, she's still a good looking ship. I don't care about the condition. Just her lines, the funnels, everything about her. I love the way she looks. I mean, this was the best thing was you can see her from angles that we could never see her before. So, I mean, that's the one good positive about this. And just another shot, same shot. Nice big close up of her. Yes, absolutely. Avoid the shallows close to shore. Oh, Ozzy, will they fix the holes on the port side? Steve says, unsure of what holes. Yeah, I'm not sure either. Now, it is worth pointing out, at some point, you can look over here, right here. This hatch is open. I wonder if they closed that. Because I don't ever remember seeing anybody close that. Mr. Gibbs was a genius designer. Yes, he was. And there she is going away. Steve, yes, Steve, there were no holes on the hull. Yeah, I'm not aware of any holes on the hull either. And I think this is, of course, this is further down the river. Some bad spots of surface rust at the waterline, but cosmetic. Yeah, her hull is solid. Somebody had made that comment in one of the updates. They were like, I hope she doesn't sink or something. I'm like, she's not going to sink. I mean, yeah, she looks rough. She's old, but that hull is solid. I mean, is in it. And Steve, you may know better than me. I mean, you got to remember she was built to serve as a troop ship if need be. I mean, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, but she was designed where she could withstand a torpedo blast. You correct me if I'm wrong on that. Another nice shot of her going down river. Steve says, I'm sure that midships hatch, I'm sure was closed before they entered open water. I would hope. And look, there's a nice close up of it right there. You can see it's still open. It was still open pretty far downriver. You can see a ladder hanging down. Yeah, because somebody got out, climbed down this ladder, and got onto one of the tugs. Another good shot of her. She did not cross under this bridge here. Ooh, that's a good question, Dan. How much freight can she haul? Freight equal military equipment for the troops. I am not sure, Dan, to be honest with you. That is a great question, though. That may be something we have to look into. Steve, you and I might have to get together and see if we can figure out an answer to that question. Yeah, okay, so there we go. Steve's answering my other question. She had a double hull, so a torpedo blast would not necessarily flood the ship. And another thing about her, remember, this ship was way more advanced than Titanic ever was, where I don't know how many compartments would take for her to flood. I mean, that her being the SS United States before she sank, but I would imagine it's a whole lot more than Titanic. Bow riding high. Yes, the bow. They did mention that the bow is higher out of water than the stern. I forget what the reason was. They did mention it. I do not remember what the reason was. So that is all the photos that I've got of her. So, Dan, I got it in my head somewhere that she could carry an entire division and all the equipment needed. I don't know if that's true. We don't know exactly because she was never used for that purpose, Dan, but we can use the Queen Mary as a good comparison because they are comparable in size, and Steve could tell us for sure. I mean, Queen Mary could carry multiple divisions. Queen Mary to this day still holds the record for most people ever on a ship. It was over 16,000 people. So yeah, she would have no problem carrying thousands upon thousands of troops into wartime service. Steve, I would say equipment would be nothing more than their kits and essentials for the voyage. No tanks, no jeeps, etc. Right. In fact, Dan, I've got if you want some type of reference, so Steve here, you hear me keep saying Steve. Steve is the Blue Ribbon channel, and I'm gonna give Steve my little plug here. Dan, if you go to this channel, that is Steve, the Blue Ribbon. Steve is a member of the Queen Mary Heritage Foundation, official nonprofit for the Queen Mary ship, and he knows everything there is to know about the Queen Mary. But also, if you go on my channel, there is a video just like this. We did a live stream where Steve came on the stream, and we talked about the Queen Mary specifically in her wartime service. I'm gonna find the let me see if I can find the name of the video for you. Let's see. Just bear with me a second. All right, here we go. Let's see. It's called History TV, The Queens at War. I'm gonna type it in the chat for you. So if you're interested, go find that video, and Steve lays the entire history of both the Queen Mary and the Queen Elizabeth in their wartime service. We have a pretty big discussion about that. I think you would find that interesting. Let's see. Aaron, my friend. Wow. Aaron with the super chat. We appreciate all your efforts. Aaron, I appreciate you so much, my friend. I appreciate all you guys. Really, I do. But thank you so much, Aaron. Um, uh, you guys never cease to amaze me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And as you guys know, uh, we use this for StreamYard. All the donations you guys give me, I use to pay for StreamYard. That's how we're able to do these live streams every week. And we're able to bring on Steve and Tim and Shane and hopefully even more people in the future. So thank you, Aaron. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate that. And I haven't decided yet, but Aaron, I may have a video that is going to really interest you. Next week's video of the week, if I'm able to make it happen. So I don't know for sure yet, but I will try to make it happen. Steve, such a great app for streaming. Absolutely. Okay, we are going to go back to Google Maps here, guys. Let's see. Bear with me a sec, because those are all the photos I have. And we're going to go to Google Maps. So let me take that off. And let's see. Stop sharing that. And let's see. Google Maps. Pulling the Google Maps back up. Okay. So why am I pulling up Google Maps? Because I'm going to show you guys some things about Mobile. So this is still Galveston. So let me get out of Galveston here. And let's go over to Mobile. All right. Here's Mobile right here. So essentially, guys, what's going to happen? This is, I think that's Dauphin Island right there. She's going to come up through here, make her way up Mobile Bay, and she's going to go into the Mobile River. And the Mobile River is right here. She's going to go up into here. And if you notice, this right here, this is the Alabama shipyard. So this is her destination, the Alabama shipyard. And I don't know for sure, obviously, which one she's going to, they're going to moor her at, but I'm guessing it's going to be this one or this one or this one right here. Mark, muddy waters. Very, very muddy waters, Mark. Trust me. Dan asks, where is USS Alabama? Why don't you ask that question, Dan? Stay tuned. So anyway, yeah, this is Mobile River. This is where the big U is going to end up at. Now, interesting, if you go upriver a little bit, you can see, is this it? No, that's not it. Maybe a little more upriver. Yeah, so this is the Mobile Cruise Terminal right here. This would be where the Carnival Spirit comes in and out of port. And yes, that is where I went for my cruise last year. We left out of here. We sailed right past the Alabama shipyard on our way out, sailed right past her coming back in. So let's zoom out a little more. What do you guys see over here? Take a good look. What do you see right here? What does that look like? BB-60, USS Alabama, guys, right there. So it's going to be a pretty interesting thing because think about it. You've got USS Alabama right there. The Alabama shipyard, the big U will be somewhere over here. And right here is the Carnival Cruise Terminal. So you're going to have these three giant ships all within eyesight of each other. You would be able to go to any one of the three. Well, I don't think we'll be able to go to the big U. If their shipyard is like Thomas C, you probably won't be able to get too close and see it. I mean, it's a shipyard, so easy gun range. So yeah, you any one of these points, you've got like this triangle here. where you'll be able to see any one of the other two ships if you are on one of them. And actually, guys, Aaron, are you looking real good, Aaron? Look what's right here. We've got the drum right here inside Battleship Memorial Park. Let's see if we can. Yes. Yes. So let's do this. Let's go right here. So this is the view from the bow of the drum. So if you are on the bow of the drum and you are looking this way, if the Spirit, Carnival Spirit, is in port, you would see her, I believe she's somewhere over here. And you would see the funnels of the big U somewhere over here from the bow of the drum. Dan asked, was that a PT boat? Yes, Dan, that is a PT boat. I think they just recently acquired that. So let's see. No, I got to be over here. Yeah, right here. That is a PT boat. Yep, so there's the drum. That's walking up to the drum. Oh, and you can see they don't even have it in place. Yeah, so the PT boat is a very recent addition to Battleship Memorial Park. And what I was mentioning earlier, Aaron, about a video that you might like, if everything plays out right, guys, I will be at the USS Alabama tomorrow, if everything goes according to plan, because they are doing their first historical reenactment on the ship for this year. So I may go there. I might do a on-stream location video if I go. And I'm planning on doing a video for the drum, since I recently did that model building video of the drum. Dan says I visited USS Alabama several years ago. Awesome. I usually go 2-3 times a year to the Alabama, Dan, and I'm getting tongue tied here. I live in South Louisiana, not that far from Kidd, so I visit Kidd a whole lot. I'm dying for Kidd to get back to Baton Rouge. Age forgotten. Can you imagine a Carnival Spirit passenger just in heaven? Old-time war vessels and the SS United States. Man, I wish I could be there. Right? Okay. So last thing we're going to do, guys, we are going to check out where the SS United States is right now. So let me pull up, let's see, track the SS United States. And let me share that. Let's see where the big U is at right now. Okay, so let's see. This is Hatteras Island right here. Let's zoom out a bit. So they're taking her a little further offshore than normal. So she's essentially right in the middle of North Carolina, off the shore of North Carolina. So she's actually been, I don't think I could be wrong, but it seems like she didn't make as much progress today as she did yesterday. I could be wrong on that, but like she cleared Virginia pretty fast, or at least it felt like it. So I would imagine she's still going to be off of the North Carolina coast tomorrow, and maybe tomorrow night or sometime in Sunday, she might make it off the South Carolina coast. Steve says they aimed her into the wind and lost mileage today. I wonder why that is. Let's see. Dan's showing us the list of ships he's been to. USS Texas in 85, Yorktown later, then Alabama, Nautilus, and the LST in Evansville. Saw the outside of Mighty Mo most recently. Mighty Mo has always been one of my all-time favorite battleships. Really ships, period. I love Mo. I love the Iowa class very much. But while we're listening, I will. Steve, no Queen Mary. Sorry, Steve, I've never been either. It's not because I don't want to. Someday. Um, I'll go ahead and list the ones that I have been on. I will start from the West Coast and work my way East Coast. USS Midway in San Diego. Kidd, of course, many more times than I can count. I've been to Kidd. Alabama and USS Drum as well, because she's in the same park as Alabama. Let's see. The Stewart and the Cavalla at the Galveston Naval Museum. I did the Texas dry dock tour a few years ago, and I'm planning to go in a few weeks and do the restoration tour. What else? The North Carolina. Those are 8 ships total. Those are the ones that I have been on. And of course, I obviously won't be able to go on the Big U, but I will at least be able to see her from a distance in person when she gets to Mobile. Absolutely. Yeah. Iowa class and any BB for that matter. Absolutely. I love the battleships. I'm weird because I love the battleships and I love the ocean liners just as much. Look at that. That'll tell you something right there about me. And you've been to the North Carolina as well. See, Dan, you did Olympia, but not New Jersey. Steve, come on. You're at the Queen Mary every other day, and you haven't been to the Iowa. So come on now. Okay. So guys, that is everything we've got, everything I have for you this week. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This one was packed, as you could tell, with all kinds of stuff. Of course, I absolutely I gotta give the kid a plug one more time. Make sure to go to usskidd.com if you can. Donate to the museum, and let's keep the dry dock a successful thing for the kid. You can go to their YouTube channel as well. And I am reminded of, I don't know how many of you watched Battleship New Jersey's live stream when the Big U was going downriver, but Ryan made a comment concerning support of the museums, and this is where I'm going with Kidd. With thanks to your support for like New Jersey or Kidd, whichever ones you're supporting, that is the reason why those ships are not going downriver to be turned into a reef. I'm paraphrasing Ryan there. So. Content schedule, guys, as you know, is as follows. I don't know why I still have these things on. I stopped talking to Tim over a half hour ago. So content schedule is as follows. We do our weekly 1-hour live stream every Friday at 7 o'clock. These times are all U.S. Central Time. Our videos of the week are every Friday morning at 7 a.m. There was no video of the week this week because I just did not have time to get out and film anything. Hopefully it'll be back next week if I can make it to the Alabama tomorrow. And of course, our shorts are every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. And if you're subscribed to the channel, you're on the Discord, keep a lookout tomorrow, because if I do make it to the Alabama tomorrow, I may try to do a on-location stream from the museum. So keep that in mind. So that is going to do it for this week, guys. Let's see. Let me get ready to end this thing. Thank you guys for watching as always. Aaron, thank you again so much for the super chat, my friend. I appreciate it so much. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. And until the next time, you guys, as always, know the drill. Drive safely.